Using the power of the internet, you can now watch GLC on any TV in the US, Canada, the UK, and Ireland with Roku. Basically, a box that connects to your television. Roku acts as a middleman between your internet connection and your television. So if you have internet service at your home, chances are high that you can watch all of the great GLC programming. And best of all, it's highly affordable too, with only a one-time fee ranging from $50 to $100. Log on to our website, www.glc.us.com, for details on how you can watch GLC via Roku.
Welcome to Update News. It's Monday afternoon.
Yes, it is.
And I'm Amy Cooper.
And I'm Rick.
I was Amy Cooper last week, too. But, well, you know, I love that intro. I think Corey and Mason put that intro together.
It's a great intro.
And just a reminder to people about our Update News. Normally, we do a lot of news articles. Right now, we're not going to do a lot of news articles because we want to spend the time talking to you about what's going on. But, you know, GLC has worked for years. Mom and Dad have worked very, very hard. All of us have worked very, very hard to form very positive relationships with people in the land of Israel. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking even people within, like, the North American news desk of the IDF. We do that because when I'm researching the news, when Mom is researching the news, we find that you don't really hear the real news. That's why Update News is so important. Mm-hmm. You know, people in Israel love GLC because we are the one television station outside of the land of Israel that stands solidly behind them. We will tell you the truth about what's going on.
Right.
That's a very, very important aspect of what we do. You don't gain that kind of favor with Israelis by being snidely with them. You know, actually, when we corrected our theological course here 3 years ago now, I can't even tell you how many Jewish people have thanked me since then for correcting that course because of the hidden anti-Semitism within the message that was predominant on the airwaves of GLC.
Right.
So anyway, it's that's just one aspect of why GLC is so very, very vital. You know, one of the things I have to say about GLC, where we always seem to be the forerunner, we seem to be the crest of the wave with people learning things. And even fanatical Islam is something that we started talking about 12, 15 years ago, having guests who were telling people. So it's pretty much our viewers who first became aware of that sect of Islam that the whole world is now getting pretty scared of because of what they're seeing. What happened with our focus, though, we don't need to tell you that fanatical Islam exists now. Every news agency around the world is telling you they exist. It's in your face. What we're telling you is how to love the Muslims.
Right.
Because that's really the important thing for you to know now. How do you love them? How do you minister to them? How do you not lump everybody into one big pile and say they're all wicked and bad?
That's right.
They're not all wicked and bad, but they're not all good.
You can look back in our own past, the Crusade Period.
That's right.
And it's a good thing that not all Christians were lumped into that boat as well. There were some Christians that were zealous over the wrong things, and they approached it the wrong way. And that's the same with every religion. We're not saying that they're valid in their beliefs, but we're saying that that's human nature.
And the power of religion, when you combine religion with politics, which is why our Constitution, or our founding fathers said, keep this where it's not really affecting, that the religion is not affecting the decisions of government. Although what's really funny is that all of our rules, all the rules of the land, are based on the Bible. They all are. But they did that because of what was going on in the country that they fled, primarily England, where Catholicism, the Catholics and the Protestants were bitter enemies. You know, Elizabeth R. is very, very famous. She was a Protestant. Her sister before her, they're both Henry VIII's daughters. Her sister before her, she's a Catholic. And so when you see what goes on, and that it went on for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, even after this country began to be settled on the East Coast. So, no, it's really important that we learn about the different aspect of Islam that we need to know now, and that is their understanding. You know, I think it was Monty Irfan that told me, you know, Amy, their God has 99 names. 99 names, and not one of them is love. You know, that's what our God is known for, is for his love. His banner over us is love.
That's right.
It means that, you know, the banner is like your flag. Each tribe had a banner that represented that tribe. Well, his banner is love.
Yeah.
Hava.
And they're to know us then under that banner.
That's right.
They're to know us by our love, not our condemnation, but our love. They may not understand what we believe, but wouldn't it be healthy if they also treated us that way? Anyways, we have to be the forerunners, the ones that love no matter what.
Well, the thing is that I know, even in Christendom, we have a long way to go to learn what love is, what the interaction is. We had a bunch of people here last week, as everybody knows. We had a bunch of people, and the discussion came up about some of the horrible, nasty, ugly things that were written by the leaders that used to be here at GLC. And they were floored that they would put these things on the internet, even if they were true, which they weren't. But that's not what God calls us to do.
No.
It's so anti-Torah, it's not even funny. And I know that it wasn't always easy for us to remain silent when we knew what was going on. But that's what God would have us do. So we did.
That's a better path to take.
Well,
it really is.
You know, it's sometimes the hardest things are when you're in the midst of it. That's always when the decision is the hardest to make, to do the right thing. And that's when it's the very, very hardest. But once it's gone and, okay, here it is a year, 2, 3 years later, you look back and you go, thank you, Lord, for giving me the grace to be able to do that, because you know what? I wouldn't want to stand in front of you and have to answer for slander and gossip and all of these things that are so abhorrent to him. I know when we were doing live Monday nights last year, that was one of the subjects that we started to touch on was gossip and what God has to say about it.
I remember that.
And what he has to say about the people that are involved in it. And it's some serious stuff.
Well, it really is. Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, not much has changed since we were sitting here last week. Well, a couple of things have changed, I guess. But right now, we want to show you The Buzz with Jenny. She took a minute to put that together for you, and we'll be right back after this.
Hey guys, welcome to The Buzz. We hope you've had a great weekend and a good start to this week. We definitely caught up on much needed rest this weekend because last week was an absolute whirlwind for us. It started with a Monday Light of the Southwest taping with Denia Greenberg from Messianic Jewish Family Bible Society. It was a real honor to meet Miss Greenberg and hear about the amazing work their organization is doing. We've had so many orders for the Tree of Life version Bible, but have limited stock, so act fast if you want to order one. On Tuesday, the Shepherd's Heart team arrived, and everyone on staff here loves hosting those guys because they bring so much life to our campus. They are all true leaders who each possess humility and genuineness, and in ministry, that to me is everything. Steve and Rick taped the 3rd season of Rock, Shovels, and Manuscripts, and Jean-Claude brought a fresh perspective for his show, A Perspective On. They taped Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 in the morning until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So hats off to our Shepherd's Heart team and our awesome production crew for their hard work and dedication this week. Don't tell them that I told you this, but they actually begged to use my iPhone for that selfie. And right now, you can get Jean-Claude's series on marriage for 30% off and the 1st and 2nd seasons of Rock, Shovels, and Manuscripts. Don't forget that 30% off sale runs just through this week. If you have been calling and can't get us, it's not because we're ignoring you. It's because we're on the other line. So don't give up. Remember, we're here to take your calls Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time. But if you get the voicemail system, don't be afraid to leave a message because we do check it often and we promise to get in touch with you. Or shoot us an email if that's an easier method of communication for you. Rosh Hashanah begins Wednesday evening, so Shana Tova and Uma Tuka to all of you. Have a happy and sweet new year. This also means that Yom Kippur is right around the corner, so hurry and order this hardbound beauty from our Art Scroll Holiday Series. You're going to love sharing the rich thoughts from the sages with your Bible study. Most of you have heard by now that we are being forced to make a transition off satellites. Should we lose our satellite transmission during this transition, it will cause a viewer-wide blackout, meaning that virtually every one of you will lose GLC except those watching from our website or Roku. On Update News last week, Rick, Amy, and Mason did a great job explaining the options you have should we lose our satellite signal. But what we want to stress is that the loss of our satellites will not just affect you guys who are watching via the satellite receivers, but also those of you watching on cable and antennas. The cost of the transition project is $60,000, and we could sure use your help with that. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your support. Have a blessed week.
Good.
There we are.
Yeah.
She filled us in on a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Okay, so where are we at? Okay. Actually, today was the deadline with SES.
What do we know?
Nothing.
Okay. So
I've not had a response from them. What I did do was make a request that, they have been extremely, extremely generous with us. They have been extremely merciful to us, which is why we owe them so much money, because we're talking nearly 6 months.
No, the money that didn't go to them went into paying salaries, taking care of
bills.
insurance.
Okay, now I want to make something clear. When I returned to GLC 4 years ago, I had 50 people on staff at this location.
Right.
On staff at this location. Now, what do I have, 15?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure it was 15. I think that's with everybody.
Including mom and dad? It is. Including 15, including mom and dad.
Yeah.
And as you can tell, they're not here right now.
Yeah.
So take it down to 13. I have 13 people here at this location who are doing everything that 50 people used to do. Okay, plus Mason. Well, Mason is in that number of 15. He's in Dallas. He's not here. But most of what he does is internet related.
But you couldn't do without one person now.
No, I can't do without one person now. In fact, this is why I'm having to work so many hours and why I haven't had a break in 2.5 years. And I'm not whining to you. I'm just telling you that we have not had the funds for extra personnel.
Even one of our girls that works in master control, inserting the programs, she had to work into the weekend just to keep things.
Oh, she worked most of Saturday.
Up to speed.
But no, everybody here is working triple hard at what they do. And it's not like they couldn't use a raise because they all live here where the economy, the price of everything has gone up here because of the oil field.
Well,
but we can give them raises.
It's a great team. I mean, I don't hear whining about wages. I hear people saying, what can we do to keep us on the air? That's what I hear.
That's all we're hearing.
Yeah.
Because they believe in what we're doing. You know, any one of them, they're all very talented people. They could all work somewhere else.
So the satellite company that we're currently on, one of the two.
One of the two, SES, we owe them almost $111,000
Okay.
at
And
this
so
point.
we're asking them to be gracious again.
Yes, and extend, if they can, if
Yes.
they will, extend carriage of our signal for 2 more months
And the
and
purpose?
extend the payment
Yes.
that's owed to them, the debt that's owed to them for a couple of months. The purpose of that is the transition that we're talking about, which is taking our television broadcast signal, which comes out of the control room,
Right.
converting it into an internet signal that shoots it to our transmitter. Another piece of equipment picks it up, reverses it, turns it back into a TV transmitter.
You couldn't have done that 10 years ago, or probably even 5
You
years
know,
ago.
funny you should mention that, Rick, because as I was getting ready to come out here, I was thinking about that. And I was thinking, you know, when we converted, because the FCC made us convert to the digital format, they made us do it because it's better.
Right.
Digital is better.
Yes.
That's all there is to it. It was extremely costly. But you couldn't send the signal the same way that you could send the analog signal that we had always had. So this is why Dad went on the satellites. But satellites are not cheap.
Right.
Okay, so I guarantee you, if the technology to provide the signal to a transmitter via the internet would have been available 10, 15 years ago, that's the choice Dad would have
Sure.
made because it's so much more economical. I mean, yeah, there's a tiny bit of setup cost, but comparatively speaking, in the long run,
Right.
it's nothing.
Right.
It's a drop in the bucket to what you pay to be on a satellite.
The whole cost of this project that we're looking at is $60,000. The whole project. I mean, we may find there's added expenses we can't calculate at this point.
At most, I bet it will not go over 65,000 though,
Yeah.
and that's figuring in a lot of variables.
And that's to work with all 5 of the full power stations.
Right, and then from there we would also have to outfit each cable system
Right.
to pick us up. Some of the cable systems will be able to pick us up off
Yes.
air. Some will be able to pick us up by the internet. It just depends
Right.
on the individual cable systems because you know what, they're like people. No two are just alike.
That's true.
So it's very interesting. You would think everything was very standard and everything is this way and that way, but it's not that way. So you make more than 200 calls to find out, and even that is time consuming. You know, you don't pick up the phone for 30 seconds with anybody unless it's like, hey, get this done, and then you hang up. But other than that, you know. So this is why I'm so excited about this, and here's why. It's an incredible future savings.
Yes.
Money that we will be able to put into so many other things.
Sure.
Production, the quality of production. You know, I think it was 3.5 years ago, we bought what is called the TriCaster, and that is the piece of equipment that is in the room where our director sits. And it, besides everything else it does, that is the one that enables us to do these programs with the great backgrounds because of the green screen technology, right? So I'm talking to Corey the other day, and he tells me how we bought this 3.5 years ago. Hello. It's so out of date. It's like a dinosaur
Right.
compared to what they have now. And it's like everything about television changes.
Just technology just changes so fast.
That's right.
But they see you see the difference on your screen when you're watching at home. So, I mean, it makes that big of a difference.
So, you know, I'm looking at this and I'm going, this is so great because we have to have money in the future to be able to upgrade our equipment to keep up with things. And, you know, I got to tell you, Rick and I never run short of ideas for programs. implementing them is a whole different ballgame when you're working so many hours that you don't have time to do that. We do good to have time to do Light of the Southwest recordings. That's one of the reasons we've really had to back down on them this year. Another reason was the hotel cost, because hotels are not cheap.
Not now, with all the oil workers in town, and God bless them.
No, we're doing good now. 2 years ago, we could get a hotel room, a very nice hotel room, for $99. Now that same hotel room, well, it's not that same hotel room. It's in the same hotel. It's not the same room. It's down in the basement. It's now $190. Well, actually $209 every single night. So, that adds up really, really quick.
Right.
So this is why I'm excited about backing off from those monthly satellite bills and being able to put our money into other things.
Absolutely.
But we've got to have help to do it. And okay, so if Jenny mentioned that the cost of the transitioning over to that IP equipment, $60,000. We really need your help to do that.
Yes.
We're ready to rock and roll. My chief engineer, he's my chief engineer, not Rick. He's my chief engineer. Just kidding. That's always a point of contention with Rick whenever I say my crew, my staff. He's like, they're not yours, they're ours. You wouldn't believe what goes on behind the scenes here. It's really funny. But anyhow, he's been working very hard. You have been working very hard. Mason has been working hard. The three of you have been putting your heads together for quite some time, actually.
Corey, too, has been joining us.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
To figure out how to do this? Well, that doesn't really surprise me. He's one of the smart ones, too.
That's very true.
So, anyway, you guys know what you're talking about. And, actually, I was talking to Mom and Dad about all of this Friday night and this change and whatever, and they are actually quite excited about this. And Dad is amazed that we've actually found a way to do it. So he's happy.
It's taking GLC into the future.
It is.
So we need your help. It's the only way we can do this is with your help. You know that the message is worth it. It's God's message. We're just with you, the instruments to bring this thing about, but it's that important.
Okay. During the transition period, which is the 2 months, it takes time to get this, because most of our transmitters are in the middle of nowhere. There's not necessarily internet service there. And one in particular, I know we're going to have to pay to get that internet service to that location to be able to do this.
Yes.
It's still going to be cheaper in the long run.
A lot cheaper.
Much cheaper in the long run. But it's going to take time to get that done.
Yeah.
Now, when Jenny's talking, or when we're talking about our full power is going black, our cable companies going black, everything going black during the transition, that's only because we couldn't pay the SES satellite as well as the Galaxy 19. And we owe SES $111,000. Right now, I think we owe Galaxy 19 $28,000. They'd like to have their money. They will get their money sooner or later. So for all you prayer warriors out there, be praying for us that number one, that we have favor with these satellite companies, that they continue to be so merciful. If we go black, it's going to be much harder for us to pay our debts to them.
Right.
But also be praying that God speaks to someone to step up to the plate. All of us can do a small part to make this happen so that it's not a burden to anyone. But, there's a lot of rich old folks, too.
Right.
We've had people just out of the blue many, many months ago give us a chunk of change. It all went to pay bills.
Right.
Right. It's like, don't you pay your bills? Yeah, you wouldn't believe all the bills that I have. Rick was asking me about that yesterday, and I'm like, okay, we have 5 full power stations, which means FCC requires we have an office at every one of those locations. Okay, so now every city has at least a transmitter with the accompanying electricity. Now it will also be the internet. Praise God. Then you have the office. So you have
the phone,
the
telephone.
lease on the tower transmitter. You have the lease on the office. You have electricity here, electricity there. Good point. The phone line, the phone line, the internet, the internet. So, you know, it's double every location we have. He was like floored by that. And then there's other cities too, like San Angelo, where we lease a tower. Las Cruces, where we lease a tower for that translators, because we have 4 translators. So you're leasing everywhere you go. Anywhere we are, we're paying electricity from here to Timbuktu.
That's a long ways, too.
It is. It's a really long way. But anyway, so that's what's going on. So we're just praying, and we're believing God for a miracle. And you know what? If we go black for a couple of months, I know one thing. God is trying to get it across to the viewers that GLC is their responsibility. We can work as hard as we can work, but we can't do everything. It was never set up for the people who work here to do everything. It was for the church to own it.
Now, what if, let's go back to that. So let's pretend for a moment that we do go black, which is
it's a distinct possibility.
It's a distinct possibility. What would the viewer do to be able to continue to watch GLC programs? What can they do?
Well, for one, they can watch us on our website. Of course, we have all the archive stuff on our website.
Yes.
But we also have the live stream 24/7. So all else fails, go on the internet, go to glc.us.com. That's the easiest one until you get into place a Roku.
Yeah.
Those come in various shapes and sizes. That's actually one of the larger units right there.
Yeah.
They come in various shapes and sizes and prices.
Right.
See, I like that little one that you see in the front. It's like the size of a thumb drive.
And since we did this, they've actually dropped $10. So you can get a Roku now for $39.99.
Really?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, and what the Roku does, if you have missed our on and on telling you about it, what a Roku does is it actually picks up the signal on your computer and shoots it over to your television set. It's the most phenomenal technology.
Yeah, Roku picks up the internet signal. It transfers these into Roku channels because it has a distinct signal for Roku. And Roku then puts them up as icons, little boxes on your screen. You can select whatever channel you want. It comes right up. It's just like cable in many ways. And our channel is awesome on Roku. But there's other ways as well. In fact, we've had calls from people, I don't have the internet out here. What can I do? Or I have a small stream of internet. Even they can still watch GLC.
On the internet.
On the internet. Let's say, for example, they have a cell phone, but they don't have internet. They can still watch us easily. With a Chromecast plugged into their TV, they can take it from their phone right to their TV set. And it's beautiful.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, sure.
I'd forgotten about
you
that.
You don't have to have the internet over an internet line to still get us on the internet. True.
Those little phones anymore are pretty magical little devices.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And if a person wants to be able to get us but doesn't have great bandwidth, in other words, they have a bad or very expensive internet signal from where they're at, then they can even do that with a low stream that we have on our internet channel. So.
Well, I'm here to say it ain't the end of the world, which I love the spot that Jean-Claude put together that we're inserting all the time, because you know what? We actually have had calls today from people who just found out over the weekend. These people watch all the time. They just found out over the weekend, and it's only because we keep telling you.
That's right.
24/7 what's going on. That's how they found out. So we love you. We thank you for standing with us. Yes. And we're excited about the future of GLC. And